Okay. So the highlight of the summer after my freshman year of college was getting my braces taken off. I guess there's no real point to point it out, but I had braces my freshman year of college, and that kind of sucked. But um, I remember taking a picture in the lecture hall of one of my summer classes when I had gotten my braces taken off. And I was so happy and excited. And I remember that shortly after I got my braces taken off, I got my wisdom teeth taken out. And again, this is one of the wildest stories. But which is kind of crazy when I think about it, because they pulled 4 of my teeth out when they put my braces on during high school. And then if I remember correctly, it was 4 teeth. So 4 wisdom teeth that had not erupted yet, which meant it was a surgical procedure, meaning I would have to undergo anesthesia. If I'm not mistaken, first time in my life that I would ever be going under general anesthesia. And I was kind of freaking out. So I met with, that's what they call, right? Local is when it's in a place, general is when they put you completely to sleep. So I remember meeting with the surgeon who would be doing my treatment. And she was a very, very attractive older woman. I do remember that. Not that old, but again, college freshman. And I hate to say this, but it does all play into the story. You'll see how. So anyway, she answered my questions, and she explained to me that she was going to be the surgeon. So she was both a dentist and a medical doctor. And so she would be doing the surgery, but she also was a dentist, so had teeth knowledge. And then the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because when I asked her about her anesthesiologist, she said that she does her own anesthesia. That's part of her training, which kind of put me at ease, but not really. Side note, Jane's father is an anesthesiologist. And I remember one of the things that she did to console me was she told me that, do you know why you keep asking why my dad makes so much money? Because his job is very important, and he has to pay a lot of attention to his job. It's something along those lines. Again, it's been a minute since this all happened. So the other part of my meeting with Dr. I actually do remember her name, but I'm not going to say it. With Doctor was that she said that I cannot smoke weed for 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. And Taurus, so I swear to God, I don't remember making a face, but my face must have said it all. So she was like, okay, 1 week before and 1 week after. Listen, folks, I'm not proud to admit this, but I went into that surgery high. Fuck. Anyway. So, and just make it clear, we are talking cannabis, we are talking weed, get your mind, okay, just make that very fucking clear, okay? Anyway, if it's not already increasingly clear. So anyway, so I go into the surgery, and I remember we were making I hate to go with small talk, but we were chatting up, and then I was out. I don't remember anything. I remember her kind of toot toot, and then boop, I was out. Next thing I know, I remember waking up, and all I remember was that my grandma was calling me on my phone, but at the same time, I wanted to laugh really badly, and I wanted somebody to laugh with, but I didn't want my grandma to think I was crazy. So I remember handing the phone to the nurse and telling her to please speak to my grandma because I didn't want her to think I was crazy. Of course, nurse understood. All of a sudden, I wanted to cry. All of a sudden, I get this rush of emotions, and I just start feeling really sad, and I want to cry. And I know that I just woke out of surgery, but I also can't help the emotions, is the best way I know how to describe it. And then I start to blush when the doctor comes in, and I start to get insanely, and And the doctor's cracking up, by the way, mind you. But I remember telling her, because again, my mouth is like filled with gauze. I had just gotten surgery, so I couldn't talk that well. But, or could, I could somewhat form speech. I do remember that because it was somewhat impacted, like maybe not as clear, but I do remember getting the message across that like, I'm sorry, I felt sorry that I found her so attractive, and like I definitely respected her. It wasn't out of like any form of disrespect, that and I was so like sorry that I was a mess. That's all I can say. And then I get a call from Jane on my phone, and it turns out it's not Jane. Jane lost her phone, and Jane was the one who was supposed to pick me up from surgery. Can't make this shit up. Oh my God. So anyway, I get back home, right? All nice and safe, and I'm supposed to, again, it's supposed to be a week without, and I'm definitely not supposed to be drinking or doing anything like that. We get a call from a group of our friends during the freshman summer program, and they ask if they can use our apartment to throw a party that night. When I say I shot up out of my seat, because I do remember having Patty take the phone call, and I'm just going enthusiastically, yes, right, as long as y'all are down. Listen, that party, we had people throwing up in our bathroom. We had I remember one of the windows broke because somebody like ass backed up on the window. Like, when I say a function, like we threw a function like no other. And I will never forget that they were passing around a bottle of Ciroc. At the time I did drink. I had just had surgery, bro. Like, I was still in the process of switching out the gauze, and they passed me the bottle. I asked for it, okay? I'm not gonna blame it on nobody but myself. And am I surprised when I burnt the shit out of one socket, and then I'm like, oh, and then I burnt the shit out of the other with the other. So, that's the party of the century. A couple more details from that party is that I remember that we were so worried about, this was our first party, and we had definitely signed a lease together with the intention of throwing, being able to throw a party, right? This was the first one, and we were so excited, and we were so worried that it wasn't, going to be a success. All I can say is that our friends promoted the shit out of this party. Like, we provided the space, but like the group and the crew came together and we threw a function. I talked about Christian. This is a bit of a sad memory, but I remember that like when we were promoting it in the group, he like jokingly said, does your apartment place complex have an elevator? And absolutely not wheelchair accessible. And I didn't even have the heart to reply to his comment. I remember that. But anyway, the one point that I want to make about that party was that to get the party started while everybody was kind of awkwardly quiet before the DJ got there, Jane and I started to dance, and it was like awkward, and people already thought that we were like kind of whatever, and it is worth mentioning that Jane was the only white girl in the room. Actually, probably the only white person. Other than me, I'm half white. Like, again, we were all POC for all intents and purposes, just to paint the picture. And the next morning, I will never forget, the walls were covered in blue jean stains from and you know me, I'm tall, right? I'm 6'4", so when I dance, like, I need to be up on the wall because my back is gonna go. I can't be bending over like these people, and like, again, just imagine. Anyway, that was the party of the century. The subcontext of all of this is that you have to remember that Jane's oldest sister just passed away before the summer started, and don't act like that just didn't go anywhere, because it very much did. Came back in a really screwed up kind of way, actually. So in the next video, I'm going to finally break down the frat and sorority bit, because it's time for that and it is a part of the story. So I'll see you there.